Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids for a crazy surprise news video. We're on the test server, and yes, there will be a video. In fact, it's probably coming out around about the same time on the new champions, such as this giant cock, which is in the middle of your screen right now. We'll be looking at this in fine detail, but there is something that is more exciting than that. Epic empowerment. We saw it teased on the roadmap, and we thought, okay, well, we're getting tavern improvements, which, by the way, are live as well, right? Tavern improvements, they're coming in the patch. Epic empowerment is coming as well. That's right. I presume the patch is going live probably on like Thursday. Probably. Epic empowerment will be here then as well. So prepare. How do you do it? Well, I mean, simple enough. You gotta take. We can filter for epics. Let's see, do I have multiple copies of a particular epic? Well, I've got lots of man-eaters. Okay, I can slap my man-eaters in here to empower. I obviously wouldn't do that. He's in Faction Guardians, but you get the gist. 4 copies of the same epic, simple enough. What stat bonuses do you get? So for mythical and legendaries, they do get the same stat bonuses, which are these. For epics, these are the stat bonuses instead. So for HP, attack, and defense, you actually get the same benefit, 40%, 10% at each level, up to 40% bonus HP, attack, and defense off of your base stats, which will add up to a lot of survivability. For legendary and mythics, you get 55 accuracy and resistance. For epics, it's 40. That's still pretty darn substantial, though. Like when you think about, a new player trying to progress in Hydra, Doom Tower, anywhere. Getting 10 extra accuracy resistance at every level adds up to a lot. That's pretty substantial. For speed, for the legendary and mythicals, they get 10 speed at level 2 and 5 speed at level 4 for 15 total. For the epics, you get 5 speed at level 2 and 5 for level 4 for plus 10 total. Like, getting to level 2, certainly for a late game player, I actually have got plenty of epics. Like Man-Eater is a good example. Shamail, although I've got kind of spare ones right there. Level 2, you might well have a couple of copies of champions for your Faction Guardians. Level 2 is probably not that insanely hard to get to. That's plus 5 speed. That's, it's a solid bonus. It all adds up. That's nice. For crit rate and crit damage, interestingly enough, for mythics and legendaries, they do not get any crit rate or crit damage until level 4. But at level 4, they get 10% crit, 30% crit damage, which is obviously extremely good. For the epics and legendaries, they get 5% crit damage at level 2, which is a small bonus. And then at level 4, they get another 10% crit damage and 5% crit rate for 5% crit rate total and 15% crit damage total. So basically half as much as you get from for the mythicals and legendaries. But again, this is going to be reachable. Like, I mean, unless you're a very big spend, like I literally don't have a single empowered mythical or legendary. I don't even have a single mythical. I don't have a single empowered legendary on my account, though I'm not actually far off being able to do it. I should be doing that actually very soon, but certainly getting a +4, I'm nowhere near, not even close. This will be quite doable for your epics. So that's, again, not bad. So you put all this stuff together, considering this is quite reachable, like I think you will, for even for a free-to-play player, let's say after a couple of years, you probably won't be able to empower any mythicals or legendaries without sacrificing Faction Guardians. You'll probably have a good few epics empowered up, though, by 2 years in, if you're saving them, for this. So it's a pretty big deal. It's a bunch of extra stats to keep your epics relevant, to make them easier to gear and more powerful, which is really cool. Another thing we got to touch on is obviously limited edition characters are empowered by other characters. So let's say like ninjas empowered by Noble, for example. For epics, there's a few. So Archmage Helmet is empowered by Gerhard the Stone. He's a damage dealer, not particularly of any note. So I would definitely empower Archmage first. Rian the Conjurer empowered by Thoresk. Well, she's absolutely rubbish. So you definitely empower Rian first, no question. Akoth empowered by Excruciator. Again, that's really a no-brainer. Dark Kale by Captain Tamila. Now this one is one to watch out for. Taya empowered by Aboro. I would empower Aboro first. I would 100% empower Oboro first. Oboro is extremely powerful in Hydra with Lady Mikage. She's really good in Hydra even without Lady Mikage. She's a solid option. Taya is not particularly good for anything, so I'll be watching out for that one. Gwyneth with Kaiden. Kaiden's actually quite decent for some for some Cursed City stages because he is a reviver with AoE decreased attack. Gwyneth's a solid as well, but this one is more debatable. I think you could go either way. I'll leave that up to you. Laberga by Tolf. Now, interesting enough, Tolf, Hades has just done videos recently that Tolf can actually solo, what was it, Sand Devil? I think Tolf can solo Sand out, like, or yeah, he can solo some crazy stuff, some weird stuff. So what, or is it Phantom Shogun? Maybe he can solo. I think it's Shogun. He can solo. Of course, there's changes coming to that boss, so it won't be too important. But you know, Tolf is dreadful, but apparently he can solo Shogun, so that's a pretty big deal. And the empowerment stats will make it much easier to do that. So maybe you want to empower some of your Tolfs. Laberga is okay. She's pretty good for Hard Dragon, for instance. So again, unless bearing in mind they're going to nerf Shogun, if you really want to do the Tolf thing, go for that. Otherwise, I'll be going for Laberga again. There could be further levels of hard mode dragon, and she's quite an accessible option for hard dragons. So that's cool. Ziichi Basilisk. I would actually empower Basilisk way first. Basilisk is really solid. He's got an AoE A1. He does, you know, solid, consistent damage. He's great in a stun set. Ziichi absolutely sucks. I definitely empower Basilisk first. Krakarth and Spider. Again, Krakarth isn't great. Spider isn't great either. There's a couple of stages though where he just decreased defense AoE, so that's a bit close. Then Jamarsa and Maeve, I do Jamarsa first, but they are the sort of specific ones. So for the most part, you're good to go. But I would really be saving, in particular, Oboro, and I'd personally definitely be saving Basilisk. The other ones are more optional, but those two, I would personally I'd quite recommend doing Basilisk instead, and I would highly recommend doing Oboro instead. And the rest, you're fine. Yeah, let me know, where are you with this? What I'll probably do is when this goes live on Thursday, I'll probably be empowering everything up. I actually might break it down in that video. Some champions I'd rather, you know, have 2 copies of. There's not that many, but like at a quick glance through here, you can filter and you can see how many copies of champions you have, and you can then look into empowering them. So I've got quite a few. But I'll talk about, you know, we'll probably in that video switch up my Faction Guardians, decide who we're keeping in Faction Guardians, who we're going to try to empower instead, etc., etc. But like, you can get a quick sort of gander through my stuff. You can see I mostly have maybe a couple of copies because I've not been saving these, right? I've been just using epics for food for a long time. So it's going to be a process over a while to actually build up enough to make copies. I actually got lots of Kaidens. That's actually quite lucky. That's a very lucky one, seeing as we need to empower him and we need to empower whoever it was that he empowered. I've already forgotten. But yeah, like I've got plenty of epics that we can potentially do, but a lot of these are stuck in Faction Guardians. So that's a bit tricky. Sadly, some of them are like food champions, but for instance, you know, these are 5-star chickens, but if we show this off, sadly, there's not really any cool animation to this. It's just, you do it. It's like, bing. Quite underwhelming, really. It's a very underwhelming animation, but Fenchi is, he's now +2. So if we go and we look at Fenchi, in fact, if we come down to my epic section, oh, I guess he's in the, oh no, he's not in the vault. Oh, it's because he's only level 30. Hang on. So if we upgrade level and we click the instant upgrade button. Oh, look at that. Instant upgrade. We actually get to see this stuff. So it just fed all my, I've got no rank 2s or lower. That's funny. It just instantly fed them all. That's cool. If we just do it with Bruise then. We come back. Yeah. So he now jumps to the top of my epics. He's now +2. If we look at his total stats, we can see he's getting a nice chunk of stats for empowerment. A bit extra crit damage, some accuracy resist, etc. And I mean, funny enough, I Fenchi, a +2 with a 3-star blessing and no gear. I mean, his speed kind of sucks, but like Great Hall, like he's he's not too bad in terms of stats. Like he's doing okay, right? Like we slap some speed stats on this guy, and he's doing all right. You know, he build him with crit damage and some crit rate and accuracy, and he'll pick up some stats. Makes a big difference. All these sort of passive stats in the game. That's no masteries either, of course. So there you go. That is epic empowerment. It's actually coming, which is a complete game changer. It is massive. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Let me see. Actually, hang on. Okay, so to maybe show you this as an example, so let's empower Royal Guard just to see a little bit of a difference here. So we've empowered him +2. So let's think about that as he's in the vault. Royal. Let's think of that as double the empowerment bonuses. But let's compare a 6-star blessing stats to empowerment. So if we come over here again, if we would double these empowerment stats basically. So Royal Guard being +4. Remember, he's +2 right now. So it would actually give him at 15,000 HP. It would give him actually slightly more than the 6-star blessing for an epic. Attack is about the same, and he's got like 1531 attack. So like the 6-star blessing is like, that's got to be probably the highest, one of the highest attacks for an epic. It's actually super high, crazy high. Yeah, so the attack from your blessing is pretty darn substantial, but +4 empowerment on the best possible kind of epic for it will be about equal. Defense, he's got really bad base defense. You can see that if this is double to 300, that would be ahead. The speed is equal to a 6-star blessing, the +10. We double that up. For crit rate, you don't get any crit rate, none from your blessing. So that extra 5% crit rate we would get at +4 is nice. 15% crit damage is going to be half of what you get from a blessing. And then we'd have 40 resistant accuracy with the blessings giving 60 of each. So on the whole, being +4 empowered is, I would say, actually pretty darn similar to being, a 6-star blessing, which means that it's a pretty massive boost. Obviously, with the blessing, we get the blessing effect, though. So the blessing is definitely better, right? If you said, Nub, either your Royal Guard will be forever stuck at 0 blessings or forever stuck at +0, I would definitely take the 6-star blessing over +4 every time, right? Because I'm getting very similar amounts of stats really with the blessing, but I'm also getting the blessing effect, which is really powerful. But yeah, so the empowerment, though, in terms of the stats, is actually going to be pretty solid. It's pretty good. So look, there you guys go. Let me know what you think about empowerment. Are you excited to have it coming? I'm very excited for this. This is cool. I am sad because at a quick gander, there's very few epics I can actually +4 straight away, if any. If any, it's most of them are just 2 copies, which is a bummer. But hey, there we go. Thank you for watching. I do have a video, by the way, on best. Ooh, Dalaja. I think we need her. Oh, nuts. We need her for the Mikage fusion. We could get a +4 Dalaja, which I'd not use for anything. But hey, anyway, look, I'm babbling. That's it. We'll do full breakdowns. Check out my video on the best epics to empower as well. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.